everybody, welcome to Vegas Tips and Tricks. As you may have gathered from the introduction, we're going to talk about airport transportation today because it is one of the most commonly asked questions. Basically, it's like, hey, how do I get from the airport to my hotel? In some cities that can be an obstacle, it can be a difficult thing to navigate. Fortunately, Las Vegas is not one of those cities. There are a number of choices you have as far as airport transportation. We're going to talk about some of them this week, some of the budget options this week. We're going to talk about some of the more expensive options next week because there really are that many choices. I'm not even going to get into rental cars. We will do a special show on rental cars coming up sometime in the future. It deserves its own show. First of all, the cheapest way you could possibly get to your hotel is if someone came and picked you up for free. Unfortunately, you're not going to get your Bellagios and Excaliburs and Flamingos to come pick you up for free unless you're a high roller. In fact, apparently there are actually regulations in the county that prohibit the hotels on Las Vegas Boulevard from operating any kind of a free shuttle. I don't imagine that the companies who make money on moving people back and forth from the airport had anything to do with those regulations. I'm sure that was not the case. But that being the case, there are a number of off-strip properties, some of them very nice properties, and some of them fairly close to the strip, who do have airport shuttles. And there are a number of smaller hotels and motels, particularly those that are fairly close to the airport, who also offer airport pickup and drop-off. Among the higher profile resorts, you would have Red Rock out in Summerlin, also the JW Marriott and the Suncoast out in Summerlin, out in Henderson, Green Valley Ranch. Fairly close to the strip, you would have Palace Station or the Silver Sevens, and out south of the airport, the South Point, the Silverton, the M Resort. These are all good hotels. They're a little bit, out of the way, but if for some reason you happen to be staying in one of those hotels, it is worth investigating their shuttle. Obviously, the greatest benefit to this is it's absolutely free. Although it's always nice to, throw a couple of dollars as a gratuity to the driver, but you don't have to. And they're going to just take you right to your airport, right to your hotel, so you don't have to wait for anybody else. I'm just going to go straight there. Nobody's going to rip you off, and you'll get dropped off right by registration. Perfect. Some of the disadvantages are that these kind of shuttle services, they come and go. That's why if you're interested in taking advantage of one of them, I would both check the hotel's website, and as you get closer to your arrival date, I would probably even try to call the hotel and verify. In some cases, they want you to reserve a spot. There may be specific rules. There may be a specific schedule that you have to follow, and that schedule may or may not work well with your arrival and departure times. So those are things you have to take into consideration. And again, these are just, a service offered by the hotel. They can discontinue it at any time. It wasn't an airport shuttle, but for years the Rio Hotel ran a shuttle back and forth to the strip. And, last year at one point they just said, we're not going to do it anymore. So that happens from time to time. So be sure you check in advance. The hotel shuttles are a little bit out of the way. Once you get to baggage claim, you have to go down to level 0. If you check out my video of McCarran Airport from a couple of weeks ago, you'll see where you can do that. You go down to level 0, there's an escalator, there's an elevator, and then there'll be an area where the free hotel shuttles line up. So that's how you get there. Obviously a great choice if you're staying in one of those hotels. Some of them are quite a ways away from the strip, so you can save yourself a lot of money. But they're frequently first come, first serve, and there's no guarantees. So that's the cheapest way. Also available at the same location out by the airport in level 0 again is another very inexpensive option, and that is the bus. Yes, you can actually take a bus from the airport to your hotel. Well, probably not to your hotel. Although I suppose you did enough transfers, maybe you could. There are 3 buses that exit the airport, at least in Terminal 1. I can't speak to Terminal 3, and I apologize for that. But obviously you can check the airport website and they can fill you in. I believe most of the options available at Terminal 1 are also available at Terminal 3. But Terminal 1, there are 3 buses that pick up. You do not want the 108 bus. It takes you down Paradise Road and drops you off ultimately at the downtown transit center. You do not want the 109 bus either. That goes up Maryland Parkway and ends up at the downtown transit center. The bus you're looking for is the WAX bus. WAX stands for Westcliff Airport Express. And if you're staying on the far south end of the Strip or you're staying downtown, you can get very close to your hotel for count them, $2, no tips required. The buses are nice, they're fairly new, there's even luggage racks. Not a lot of people use them, but a lot of people in the know. It's a great choice if you're a young, budget traveler traveling on your own. Maybe you just got a backpack or a small suitcase. You don't mind hiking a few blocks. Great deal. $2. It drops off near the Strip at Tropicana and Las Vegas Boulevard, right next to the MGM Grand across from the Tropicana. So it's, definitely very convenient for those hotels. You could easily walk over to Hooters, to Excalibur, New York, New York. If you're willing to hike a little bit further, Park MGM going one way, Mandalay, Luxor going the other. So I probably would not want to use this service if I was planning to go to the far north end of the Strip. Though you could, catch the monorail, which is still fairly inexpensive, or catch the tram from Park MGM up to Bellagio. That's a free tram. So if you're resourceful and you really want to save some money, the bus can work for most of the Strip properties. Downtown, the WAX bus drops off at 4th and Carson. Carson is 1 block south of Fremont Street. And so you're more or less right behind the D Hotel, fairly close to El Cortez, Four Queens, Fremont, Golden Nugget. Those are all pretty easy walking distance, a couple of blocks at most. If you're staying at one of the properties like the Downtown Grand, Cal, Main Street Station, Plaza, Golden Gate, those are a little bit more of a hike, so you have to take that into consideration. But again, if you're in pretty good shape, don't have a lot of luggage to drag along, you can get there $2. So it's a great deal, particularly for a solo traveler. The third option, the final option we're going to talk about today, are the old-fashioned airport shuttles. If any of you have been going to Vegas for 15, 20 years, it seems like that was very, very popular, 10, 15, 20 years ago. The most common name, one which you hear not only in Las Vegas, but a lot of other places, the Bell Trans Company. And there are 2 or 3 other folks who operate these shuttles. Sort of small buses. You pay, I think it's about $7.50 right now for most any Strip property, $9 to go downtown. You can buy a single ticket or you can buy a round-trip ticket. And it can be a pretty good deal. Again, if you're traveling solo and you don't want to spend a lot of money on your transportation, it can be a good choice. On the other hand, it is essentially public transportation, and this is your first gamble of the trip, because if you happen to buy your ticket and you get loaded onto a bus and you're the first person to get loaded onto the bus and you have to wait for the bus to fill up, you might sit there for 15 or 20 minutes before you even leave. And then typically the shuttles drop off within a small geographic radius. So for example, everybody going to the Tropicana, MGM, Excalibur, Luxor, and Mandalay Bay might be on one bus. So if you're unlucky and you happen to be the last drop-off point, you might wait an extra 20 or 30 minutes for all these other people to get off the bus. So it's a crapshoot, but it is inexpensive. It's perfectly safe and comfortable as far as it goes, but not necessarily a great choice, particularly if you're with a group, because when you've got 2, 3, 4 people, you're paying as much as you would pay for more expensive options. So there you go. You can take one of the hotel shuttles if you're staying off strip. You can ride the bus to downtown and to the south end of the strip for $2, or for between about $7 and $10, you can take one of the airport shuttles, which will drop you off right at your hotel, whether it's at the strip or downtown. They also go to some of the outlying areas, but you have to check with them specifically on pricing. And of course, the prices and everything like that can change over time. The shuttles are very easy to access. They're right off of the baggage claim area. You'll see a lot of signage there for that. So anyway, I've used all of the transportation options that I'm talking about both this week and next week. I have my own personal favorites. What's your favorite way to get from the airport to the hotel? What's your least favorite way to get from the airport to the hotel? I'm sure we could get some really good stories out of some of you. But anyway, next week we'll be talking about some of the ride-sharing services. We're going to be talking about taxis, and we're going to be talking about limos. So make sure you check with us again next week when we'll have part 2 of our airport transportation tips. Until then, thanks so much for watching. Please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. And until next week, good luck, and we'll see you soon.